Hello all and welcome to Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on these gorgeous thigh warmers. Now that is the ankle and this is our leg right here, and right there is our knee, and right up here is our thighs. Alright, so look how gorgeous that. I love. But today you're only working on part one of this tutorial, and that is making your actual leg. Okay, it's worked from this way and it's worked all the way up, and then we turn it around and we do a join as you go, which we're going to do on Monday. But for now, you are just working on making these rows over and over again. All right, before you do anything, we're going to look at the yarn. Now, don't look at this color because this color yarn right here is not the right color, but this brand is. It's called Bendigo Woolen Mills yarn. It's a luxury. Okay, and the two colors that I used here were Baby Blossom and Soft Jade. The pink was the Baby Blossom and the green is the Soft Jade. I'm loving these colors together. Simply gorgeous. Now, the color combination that you see here today was chosen by the lovely Luana during our Halloween surprise. Now, we did a Halloween surprise. It's like a giveaway. We just don't use the word giveaway here on the channel. And lovely Luana chose these two colors for her surprise. And she actually received the same amount of yarn that I'm using today, plus a little bit more because it comes in 200 gram skein. Yeah, she received the same amount of yarn that I used to make these for hers as well. All right, so thank you very much, Luana, for your beautiful colours. And if you didn't know this and you're joining us new, firstly, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. We are in the middle of some fun projects, really fun projects for Halloween. There is one that's already complete, Simply Divine. Now, if you want to create that, we've only started the squares here on the channel, and I'll leave a playlist to the black and white vest in a description box down below, and you can actually create that little vest there. But here we are creating our leg warmers for, let's try that again, our thigh warmers for the Halloween project, one of the Halloween projects. All right, so that's that. Luana's got her yarn and we are now in the process of making this piece. How much will you need, I hear you ask? Roughly between 230 gram, let's try that again, 200, I have to look at my paperwork, sorry guys, 250, it is, I was right the first time, 230 meters to 250 meters, sorry, that's my scribble, guys, or 252 yards to 274 yards, all right, per color. This is for each color, yeah. So you need 252, or say 274 of the pink, 274 of the green. If you're doing meters, 250 of the pink, 250 of the green, yeah? Or 130 grams roughly for each color. So altogether 260 grams if you were going to make it in one color. Now that's only if you are looking at one of the largest sizes. If you are smaller, you will need even less. All right, so that's pretty much all you will need roughly. Again, these are rough measurements, but it's ample. It's more than you would probably use, all right, for all sizes, yeah? All right, so that's that. The actual yarn itself is an 8-ply or a DK weight or a 3-weight yarn overseas. You must stick to that weight if you're going to make the same measurements as us. If you're going to measure your own on your own leg, and now this is a thing I kind of mentioned towards the end of the tutorial. I wasn't going to talk about that, but I kind of will, kind of, listen to me, kind of. I'm just going to show you real quickly. Hopefully the camera doesn't play up much. It usually does with this white once the white is in. Hopefully not. So this is your leg right there. Yeah, that's a bad. I'm so bad at drawing. Sorry, guys. That is your knee. Yeah, and a little bit above your knee, right there. There's the knee cap. That's your knee. Right there is where I need you to take the measurements. All right, let's get a close up where the measurements are. That's your knee. And just above your knee, a little bit above, let's say about 2 fingers above your knee, that's where you want to take your measurement right around your knee. all right? So if you're using your own yarn and your own measurements, just wrap your piece around your thigh there. It should fit really, really tight towards the end of this tutorial, because we're going to be adding another row, and that's going to be a join as you go row to the piece. So add maybe another centimetre on top of it, and that will be your measurement, all right? Towards the end of this tutorial, it does give you measurements. Use the measurements that it says in the tutorial, all right? It's worked in a 4-row repeat. Even though the pattern is a 2-row repeat, the actual rows itself, the actual piece itself like this, is worked from green to pink, all right? And I mentioned it throughout the tutorial that if you worked in a 2 rows and you're ready to do the join as you go, you're going to have 3 or 4 rows of the green together when all the other rows are 2 rows. All right, so kind of stick to a 4-row repeat. I hope that makes sense. And don't stress too much about the measurements, because if it's too tight, you can add another 4 rows. If it's too loose, you can take 4 rows off. But you are working in a 4-row repeat. It literally should be tight on you, okay, because it's up at the thigh. If you have it too loose up at the thigh, this part down here is going to be very loose for you. This is already loose for me, all right? But in the meantime, you'll get to see it on Monday. Oh gosh, I'll be wearing it Monday. How scary is that? You'll get to see it properly on Monday. But in the meantime, I'm going to let you head off on your own. Grab your 4mm hook. You will need, let's see, I've got my other piece here. You will need 2 stitch markers. Oh, here we go. You will need 2 stitch markers, one for one part of the row, one for the other. I've got 2 here because one's inside the loop, as I do all the time. But there you go. So you'll need your 2 stitch markers. You won't need to cut anything, all right, because we won't need any cutting until second part. Don't cut anything until you join us again for part 2. Now, I give you 3 different ways of carrying your yarn up. But this way here, the main way that I show you is the best way, all right? So I'll give you 3 ways. One where you can just use the green all the way through. If you're using one colour, it's only literally a 1-row repeat for you, okay? So if you're using one colour, it doesn't matter. You can stop whenever you want. So there you go, yeah? But if you're using the 2 colours and you're carrying up like us here, I give you 2 ways of carrying up. There's an easier way, and then there's this little tiny difficult way, which, to be fair, it is a better way, and it makes your piece look seamless. Look at that. It makes it look seamless. You can't tell that the yarn was carried, and that's where you would have seen if the yarn was carried, and you can't tell there either. So there you go. All right, so I'm not going to let you sit here and watch me talk anymore. What I'm going to do is let you head off on your own, creating, upside down, your gorgeous thigh warmer colour combination chosen by the lovely Luana. Good luck all. Alrighty guys, we're going to grab our tail end of our yarn and wrapping it around our finger twice. So once and twice, holding it there and holding it down there. Grab your back loop, pass it halfway over your finger, hold it there. Grab the other loop, passing it all the way over your finger, pop your hook in that loop and just give everything a tug. Make sure you've got a long tail enough for weaving in. Not for anything, we're not sewing anything up there, we're just going to weave it in. Alright, now what I want you to do is start chaining, and we're going to chain by yarn over our hook, pull a loop through to the loop on your hook once, yarn over twice, 3, 4, 5. All right, so from here what I want you to do is look up on the screen and you need to chain the amount of chains that it says for your height on the screen there now. All right, now I'm chaining, the chain that I'm doing is actually a chain of 83 altogether because I'm, rather short, right? So I'm chaining 83. If you are taller than what it says on the screen, then you chain the next set. If you're taller than that again, you chain the next set, because this is the length of your thigh warmer. This is where it goes right up from your ankle all the way up to your thigh. All right, so from now I've done chain 5. I need to do a chain of 83 altogether. So I go 6, 7, and so on, 8, all the way up to 83. All right, so there are the sizes again. Chain the amount of chains that you need, and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, here are my 83 chains. All right, and let's get a nice close-up. All right, from here, once you've done your very last chain, pop your yarn over your hook. We're going to do a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. All right, so let's get a nice close-up for you. There's your first 1, 2, 3, and 4. Can you see the 4 loops? So that's 1 loop, 2 loops, 3 loops, and in that 4th loop right there, you pop your hook in the loop, pull a loop through like so, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2. That's a double crochet US. It's actually a treble in the UK. Just lift your loop a little bit for a minute, grabbing your stitch marker. All right, now let me get a nice close-up so you can see where to pop this stitch marker. This is the stitch that we just completed, those 2 top loops, yeah? We want to pop our stitch marker in that top chain. So the chain just before your double crochet, that's where you need to pop your stitch marker, all right? Now, grab your hook, and you are going to do double crochets all the way across your piece. So just make sure you're going into every little, let me get a close up so you can see where the stitches are. Sorry about my fingers close up there, guys. But that's the stitch you're in. You need to go right into that very next loop with a double crochet. Remember how we did it? So yarn over our hook, you're skipping that stitch that we're already in, and you're going in the next loop. All right, right, that top loop right there, like so. And you're doing your double crochet US, treble UK, and do it in the very next loop. And don't go into any other fancy loop for this piece, because when we join our work at the end, we're going to need to join into these stitches here. So just go in that very top loop. I know a lot of people like to turn it over and go in back bumps and things. Don't do that for this particular piece, all right, or it won't work at the end. So double crochet just in the top loop of every little chain you come to until you get to the end of your row. All right, so there we go, guys. This is what I want you to do. A double crochet into every stitch until you get to the very last stitch. Now that's double crochet US or treble in the UK. Every little loop you come to, get to the very last stitch or the last 2 stitches. Just get around the base there somewhere, and I'll show you how to finish off your row. All right, go ahead and do your stitches now, and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, so here I am at the end of my double crochets, and I haven't completed it. Not really, I've got a couple of stitches left, but I wanted to do a little close-up for the end of the row so that the newbies can see what they're going into. So I have 2 stitches left. It might look like 3, but it's 2. It's 1 and 2, and then you've got your knot right there. So yarn over my hook into my second last stitch with my double crochet or treble if you're from the UK, and into the very last stitch there with my final stitch, and then you should have like a tiny little knot looking thing at the end. All right, before you continue, I just wanted to show you so you can see pretty much how many double crochets you should have for your size. Have a look up on the screen. I chained 83, and so I now should have 81 double crochets across. Now that's including this stitch marker. How do you count your stitches, I hear you ask? Turn that around again. You are counting, no, I was right the first time, hello. You are counting these little V looking things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They look like the letter V, so you need to count them all the way across. If they are not correct, you need to take your work undone and do it again. All right, so now we're going to start our very next row, which we are changing our pattern to suit. And our very first stitch we're going to do is a stitch called a standing double crochet stitch. Now we've been doing this stitch on this vest right here. There it is, simply gorgeous. Now see how straight the base of that vest is? That is what I like about this stitch. All right, and we're going to use that here as well. Best part about that stitch, the standing double crochet, is that when we are working along those edges later, the stitches are easy to find as well. So we are turning our work, we're not chaining anything, we're just turning our work. And we're going to work in, see that little space there right up the top, not the big deep space, but the little one up the top. These are the little spaces we're working into. All right, so you're going to hold on to your thread there so you don't lose it. Pop your hook in that tiny space, which is actually the top of the stitch here. And then you're going to pull a loop through like so. You've got 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through both those loops. That's classified as a single crochet in the US terminology, a double crochet in the UK terminology. From here, see those first 2 loops in front? Pop your thumb on your thread and you're going to pop your hook in that base loop, not the top loop there, but the base loop. So hold on to your thread, skip the top loop and go straight into that base loop there. Pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops, and you have done a standing double crochet. I love this stitch. It not only keeps your edges straight, but it also stops you from having a big gap in the middle of your work when it goes to the very next stitch. And that's, I think, really important, yeah? All right, now we're going to change our pattern, okay? We are going to chain 1, like so. And then we're going to put our yarn over a hook. We're going to skip that first stitch, the very next stitch you come to, and go into the next one. All right, so skip that first little space, go into your very next space. So skip 1, go into that next one with a double crochet. Like that. All right, so you have a tiny little space in between. It's called a chain space. Then you chain 1. So you're going to do that again. Yarn over your hook, skip the first stitch, jump straight into that very next stitch with your double crochet. Easy, yeah? Chain 1, skip 1 into the next with a double crochet. I'm going to show you close up now because it's really important not to mess up your skip stitches and so on, or your work will not marry up at the end of the row. Okay, so you're doing your standing double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, go into the second stitch, chain 1, skip a stitch, go into the second stitch. All right, and all with your double crochets, which you know how to do because you've done a whole row of them. So chain 1, skip 1 and into the very next with your double. This is super easy. Chain 1, skip and into the double. And it's not just easy, you will fly through this. It's a very quick stitch. Skip and into the double. I don't think I need to show you anymore. Yeah. Chain 1, I've just split my thread, but I'll fix that later. All right, so that's it. That's your job for the rest of this row. But what I want you to do is do your stitches all the way across. We're going to close up again. I don't know why I went away for. Do your stitches all the way across. When you get to your last 3 stitches, you pop your double crochet into that third last stitch. Don't do anything, just wait there. And we will do the last 2 stitches together. All right, so you double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, get to your third last stitch right there, and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, you should have all of these double crochets and chain spaces all the way across, and I asked you to get to your last 3 stitches. I'm not there yet, so I'm just going to chain 1, skip 1, and I'm in my third last stitch. So if you haven't done that, complete that stitch right there. You're still going to chain 1. Before we do anything, I just wanted to show you, for those of you not changing colour, all you need to do, and if you're wanting to use the same colour all the way through, for those of you changing colours, just wait there for me. But for now, if you want to use the same colour all the way through, you just pop into your stitch, you do your double crochet like normal, then you flip your work and you do a standing double crochet in that stitch. Now, being wary, it's a bit tight. Okay, so you pop your hook in. Notice how I'm still holding the thread. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. Once again, you're going into that base loop there, pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. And that's your standing double crochet. Pop your stitch marker here and off you go doing your next row, which we're all going to do in a minute. But for the rest of us who want to change our colour, all right, we're going to be changing to the pink. Now we're going to be, don't forget, you should still have your double crochet and your chain at the end of this row before you hop into your last stitch. So you're skipping that second stitch and you're hopping into the last one. So yarn over your hook. You're going to start your stitch, pop your hook in, pull a loop through like normal. Just take out that stitch marker because it will annoy you a bit. Yeah, whoops, out of frame there, sorry. And then you just pop your yarn over your hook and pull it through the first 2 loops. And what you have is your last 2 loops. Leave that there, grab your next colour. Mine will be the pink. All right, so what you're going to do is, let me bring that out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. You just grab the tail of your pink, yep, pop it over your hook like so, and just pull it through the 2 loops as though you're pulling the green through, but you're pulling the pink through. Now what I want you to do here is give yourself a bit of a tail for weaving in at the end and holding the tail and the green in the back of your hand, or at least holding them back, pulling them back. And now with your pink, now don't pull too tight because this will be too tight and you won't be able to get your hook in it when we turn around. With your pink, all we're doing is turning the work like normal and doing our standing double crochet in that stitch. It's a bit awkward, but pop your, remember you're holding your thread, yeah? Pop your hook in the stitch, like so. Pull your pink through like so. 2 loops on your hook. Before you do anything, I want you to grab the green, passing it forward, yeah? And then pulling your pink through like normal. Drop your pink, passing your green at the back, okay? Not too tight because you need to pop your hook in the base stitch there for your standing double crochet. So pop your hook in that base stitch, pull a loop through, hold it there, grabbing your green, passing it forward. Now this is one way only. I'll show you the second way in a minute. The third way actually. Yarn over, pull through both those loops, grab your stitch marker first, pop it in the stitch like so, because that's your standing double crochet complete. But you're not finished here. You need to grab that green, pass it at the back, hold it with your hand, and yarn over your hook. You're going to put your first double crochet in that space. Treble for the UK, by the way. Yarn over your hook and you do a normal double crochet. You know how to do that. We've been doing it all along. And straight into the stitch. And straight into the space. And I'll explain why we do it this way for now. All right. Right now, all you can see for the carry up is very minor here. I'll need to explain it after another couple of rows because you can't see what I'm trying to do here. Now, if you find this way too confusing, there's another way. There's always another way, all right? So we'll go right back to where we started our double crochet in the stitch. So you start your double crochet in there. All right, now when you pull the pink through, you just pull it through like normal. Yep. You still need to pop the green and the pink tail in your hand at the back, turn and do your normal standing double crochet, but you don't need to carry anything. Just do your normal standing double crochet. Right? Later, when we do our next row, we're just going to pull this green up. And I'll show you later when we do our next row. You just keep pulling the loops up. Problem is, this is going to be loose. And if you accidentally leave it loose, you can't fix that. So let me show you quickly. The base of your work looks like that if you do it the difficult way, right? When you crochet over that, let me grab the other one. This is the base that we're doing right now with the carrying up of yarn. When you look at it here, if you're carrying it up the difficult way, it will look nice and clear on the outside, and when you turn it on the inside, it will look clear as well. Doesn't matter because we're not using the inside. However, when you're carrying up your yarn, that all sounds weird, but it all ends up on the inside of your work, so you can't see it. But notice how when you carry it up the second way that I showed you, the main way, which is the way we're going to use for the rest of the tutorial, you don't see any loops. Everything's just guided up. And you can't really tell, there's a little tiny bit, but once we crochet over that with a single crochets, you won't see that. It's an absolute amazing look, yeah? But if you were to use this loop here where you carried it up, it's likely you will be able to see that once we crochet over it. So my suggestion would be to do the other way, all right? Just show you that way real quickly again. There's your stitch. Let's try it again real quickly. And you can see it looks difficult, but it's repetitive, so you'll get used to bringing it up. And just pull it through the two loops as though you're pulling the green through, but you're pulling the pink through. Now what I want you to do here is give yourself a bit of a tail for weaving in at the end, and holding the tail and the green in the back of your hand, or at least holding them back, pulling them back. And now with your pink, now don't pull too tight because this will be too tight and you won't be able to get your hook in it when we turn around. With your pink, all we're doing is turning the work like normal and doing our standing double crochet in that stitch. It's a bit awkward, but remember you're holding your thread, yeah? Pop your hook in the stitch, like so. Pull your pink through like so. 2 loops on your hook. Before you do anything, I want you to grab the green, passing it forward, yeah, and then pulling your pink through like normal. Drop your pink, passing your green at the back, okay, not too tight because you need to pop your hook in the base stitch there for your standing double crochet. So pop your hook in that base stitch, pull a loop through, hold it there, grabbing your green, passing it forward, yarn over, pull through both those loops, grab your stitch marker first, pop it in the stitch like so, because that's your standing double crochet complete, but you're not finished here. You need to grab that green, pass it at the back, hold it with your hand, and yarn over your hook. You're going to put your first double crochet in that space. Go over the chain that you did in the previous row, pull a loop through, and complete your double crochet. You can now let go of that green. And then you're going straight into the double crochet with a double crochet. Into the chain space with a double crochet. Yes, and into your double crochet with a double crochet. Too easy. And that's it for this row. Double in the chain space, double in the double crochet. All right, it's a bit tricky. first to begin with, but once you get it straight into the space and straight into your double crochet. All right, so what you're doing basically is that row there, but you're doing one in the space, one in your double, one in the space, one in your double, and you're going to continue that all the way through until you get to your last space. Do your last space, complete that stitch, and then meet me here and we'll talk about what we're going to do in the next row. I've tangled everything up. That's another thing, guys, before you go. When you are doing each coloured row, wind up your yarn and move it over. And make sure you do that after every row because your work is going to get tangled. All right, so your job now, continue your double crochets in your spaces and your double crochets all the way across. Get to your very last space right there, and I shall meet you up there once you're done. Alrighty guys, so here we are at the end of this pink row. Oh, simply divine. I'm loving the colours together. Oh my gosh, beautiful. All right, she's so distracted. What we're going to do now is we're going to pop a double crochet in our last double crochet that we have there. And I told you to get to the last chain space, didn't I? Yeah, and that's where we are there. You still need to put a double crochet in that chain space, right there. And then you're going to pop a double crochet in the stitch with your stitch marker. So it's in your standing double crochet, if you will. All right, so straight into that stitch with your normal double crochet. Oops, taking out your stitch marker like so. All right, so from here we are going to flip our work like normal, yeah? And in that first stitch you are going to do a standing double crochet. That's the start of it. Remember, you're holding it with your thumb. And then you're going into the side bottom stitch there, and that's your standing double crochet. So pop your stitch marker in there like so, and you are going to repeat that second row, yeah, where you chain one, you skip that first stitch, and you do your double crochet in your second one. So chaining one, skip one, double in your next. There's a lot of threads on this one. Chain one, skip one, double in your next. I didn't notice it before. This is halfway through my scheme because I've already done one leg. Skip one into the next. Now, if you played your cards right with your math, your skipped stitches should be, let me move everything out the way so you can see, directly above the one from the previous row. If it doesn't work out that way, then you haven't done your maths right, okay? Now this is at all sizes. All sizes need to be doing this. So there's actually no difficult part to this pattern. It's literally a 2-row repeat. That's it. But I want you to not do that next row yet. What I want you to do is continue doing this row, which will be nice and quick for you. It was a very quick row. Get to the very end. Oh, I don't know why I'm doing that. Let's go here. Get to the very end of the row. Get to the last 3 stitches. Do the third last stitch right there, and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, so here we are at the end of this row. How gorgeous is this looking? Now before we continue, just make sure you have your green yarn in front of you ready to continue, alright? Just pass it in front, make sure it's in front of you. Well, at least close to you because you're going to be using it now, alright? So I have to do one more. Have I chained one? I've chained one there, and I need to do that third last double crochet right there, and then I chain one. You're going to start your stitch like normal, pop your hook in the stitch and pull a loop through. All right, so here's where you stay where you are. Yep, grab your green, passing it at the back. All right, now picking up that pink again and pulling it through the first 2 loops on your hook. Yeah, now you drop your pink right there and pull the green through like so. Yeah, grabbing your pink, you're holding it in the back of your hand, and then you're turning your work. All right, now in that stitch you are popping your normal standing double crochet, so you pop your hook in the stitch. Don't pull so tight, like mine's a bit tight. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, bring that pink forward like so, pull the green through like that, and once again you're passing that pink over like so, and you're doing your standing double crochet, and that's the last part of the stitch where you pop your hook in the base of that stitch, being careful not to pick up the pink. Yeah, pull the loop through like so, grabbing your pink, passing it forward, pulling your green through like normal, but before you do anything you pop your stitch marker in like so. Yes, and then grab that pink, passing it at the back again, and you are, it's a bit awkward this part here, you are holding it back there, yarn over your hook, you're going to pop your double crochet in the space like normal, that's double crochet US, treble UK, and in the stitch, just like we were doing with the pinks. Now you're doing it with the green. It is a 2-row repeat, into the chain space, into the stitch, into the chain space, and into your stitch. I'm not going to show you any more because I think you know what to do here. All right, so you obviously know that this is your pattern all the way across. So all it is you are repeating this row and this row over and over again. All right, so it's a simple step, repeating 2 rows over again, making sure you are carrying up your thread. In fact, what I want you to do now is to complete this row all the way over, do your standing double crochet, turn, and then do this double crochet chain 1 row all the way back. Get to this stitch marker right here, and we will talk about what we're going to do next. All right, so continue this row all the way across, do your standing double crochet with the green, come all the way back here, and I'll meet you here once you're done. Alrighty guys, so what I asked you to do was to complete that row, turn, and then do your double crochet chain 1 space row again. The reason is I just wanted to show you this join one last time. So we're chaining 1. Now for those of you who have been carrying your yarn up, your yarn will now be all the way down here. You've got to carry up 2 rows. You've got to carry up that row and that row, which is why I don't like the idea of carrying it up in full, right? This way it's already carried up to that next row. Okay, so if you're just doing it the other way and you're just pulling the loop up, then pull the loop up, being careful not to leave it too loose and being careful not to pull too tight or your work will turn in and it won't look right. All right, but for the rest of us, yarn over our hook, we're going to jump into the stitch with a stitch marker in it. I may have to take it out. I think I will. Just pop your double crochet, start it. In fact, don't start it, just pop your hook in for now, in the stitch with your stitch marker, pull your loop through like so, hold it there, grab your pink tail, passing it at the back, and pulling your green through like so. Drop your green, grabbing your pink, and pulling the 2 loops, pulling it through the 2 loops of your green, being careful not to pull this too tight and not to leave it too loose. Grab your green, passing it back, getting it ready for the next 2 rows. Turning your work, once again, you're going to try and pop a standing double crochet in that very first stitch. Real tricky. Pull your pink through, hold it there, grabbing your green, passing it forward, pulling the pink through like so, passing your green back. Once again, you're popping your hook in that base loop, making sure you're not picking up the green, just a pink. Pull the loop through like so. Pass the green forward once again. Pull the pink through like so. Before you do anything else, grab your stitch marker and pop it in that final stitch. Now I'm going to talk to you about this carry up in a minute. Just pop your stitch marker in. Grab your green, passing it back, and doing your double crochet in your space. And away you go. Double crochet US, treble UK. All right, and then double into your green. You can let go of that little green loop now. And it kind of looks wrong, but it's not. And I'll explain it to you in a minute. So you do all your stitches across. All right, so if you were to do it the other way, you would have loops dangling everywhere. Now, if you wanted big loops to pull up this way, then that's fine. If you wanted to cut your thread and have to weave in a million ends, then that's fine too. I'm just showing you this way because it's going to be easy to crochet our single crochets over it later, and also not have any tails except this one tail here and the one at the end. All right, so now what you need to do, basic instructions. These are the easy instructions, guys. You know what you're doing. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try it again. You know what you're doing now. All you need to do is firstly, have a look here, detangle your yarn. Make sure that this is not happening, or you're going to end up with knots everywhere. Oh, it really did happen a lot, didn't it? Because you are carrying up over and over again, you are going around, going that way, and then you're coming this way, and you're coming that way. By the time you're finished, you've wrapped it around a few times, which is normal, right? So untangle your yarn, or detangle, or whatever you want to call it. And let's get ready for what we're about to do next, all right? So the next part of your work is, let's move that out the way, to repeat this row and this row, the last 2 rows that you did, or the one that you're about to do, the last row you did, and the one that you're about to do over and over again until you get the amount of rows for your size. Now you have 2 options here. You can do this for the amount of rows that fits you perfectly to your leg, which is what I did. So mine is really tight, yeah? Yours doesn't have to be tight. I'll give you the extra 2 rows so it's a little loose. Problem with doing it loose is that right at the very end, that's where my thigh is. Right here, it's fairly tight on my thigh. But if you do it 2 rows more, you can't do 2 rows more because the green has to be attached to the pink at the end. So if you do 2 rows more, you'll end up having 2 greens together, like that. All right, so you really have to do 4 rows. And if you don't mind the back having 2 colours together like that, by all means, you can change the sizes to suit you. But it is a 4-row repeat, all right? So you're going to repeat these 2 sets of colours over and over again. It's a 2-row repeat for the pattern, but a 4-row repeat for it to marry up at the end, all right? So measure your piece on your body if you like. Otherwise, just follow the instructions here up on the screen now. Now, we've already done 6 rows. You need to complete the next amount of rows you see up on the screen. That will get you, and I'll come back here now, it will get you this very last pink row that you see here. I'm sorry, very first pink row that you see here. You're not going to do the last pink row. That's it, guys. So your job, like I said before, was to do your repeat rows for the amount of rows for your size. When you're ready to do your very last row, grab your piece and pop it on your thigh. It should be just tight around your thigh and actually not even meet, because you have another row of double crochets. Now just imagine that you're going to pop that on your thigh with an extra row. Okay, and like I said before, if it's too loose up the top, when you go to do the base, it's up the top. When you go to do the base, it's going to be so big down the base and it's going to look a little bit ruffled and a bit messy, yeah? So just make your piece to fit where it doesn't fit right now. It's a little bit too tight. Once we do that next row, that's going to loosen up a lot more. Because it is a join as you go row. All right. I'm not going to talk anymore, guys. I'm going to let you head off on your own. Complete this piece for the measurements and the sizes that you see right there. There's not a lot of measurements because most people are the average measurement. Okay. So complete these measurements right here. And again, if these are not your measurements and they're smaller or they're larger, then you might want to actually measure it to yourself. All right, so thank you very much for joining me, guys. Don't forget, I will leave all the information at the end of what you need to do and how many rows you need to repeat, and don't forget to join us for our lives at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoons, 10 a.m. Saturday mornings, Melbourne, Australia time. Marry that up with your country. We have lives, we have a lot of fun, especially Saturday mornings lives. We do a thing usually called Live Antics. I've popped that on hold a little bit for the next few weeks, just until we finish our Halloween projects. Once our projects are complete, we can go ahead and start doing live antics again. All right, shouldn't take long to complete these projects. I need to have them all done by the end of week next week. That's interesting. And you guys can have them all done whenever you want. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Mary. This is Wow Crochet Designs. And don't forget to continue your piece, and I'll catch you all on Monday. Ciao for now.